Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Two Tamers Talk. Jacob, we talked on Discord, we talk all the time, but here we are in person for our first Basil Jacob episode. How's it going?
Good. I think we've done a Basil Jacob episode at the old place.
No. We did. You were part of the Nats interview where you, esteemed competitor in the Digimon trading card game, got top 64 at Nationals with Red Hybrids.
Red Hybrids wasn't a bad pick,
but it was a pretty good pick. Jacob, how's it going?
Good. I've been busy just with card games in general. Fab has a new set that's come out, so that's kept up a bit of my time. Digimon has a new set that's came out. That's also
he's like
begging for my time.
We're at locals. And we're like, where's Nito? And he's like, I'm at Fab in Eugene. And we're like, bruh. But yeah, man, EX7 really just doesn't have anything for me. And those sets come along every once in a while, and the people at home know that, you know, you look at a set and you're really excited for BT19 because it has Crossheart and has Millenniumon, and those are things that I'm really interested in. And then it's like, oh yeah, there's a new set coming out, and it's like, oh man, Dragon Lynx and Lilith X and Beelstar, Three Musketeers. It's just like, oh, I don't want to play any of these cards.
I think that was how I felt about BT17. There wasn't a lot that I was interested in.
Yeah.
I started playing Imperial Jamal kind of just on a technicality of I was like, oh, you know,
gotta play something.
I gotta play something. It's a deck I didn't play last format, and it's pretty good. I should run it.
True.
Yeah, EX7 is a bit of an odd one. Obviously, coming off of the last EX set, EX6 was a set that I was very much happy for, being a Massmon stan. So this set, kind of similar. There's a couple cards that I'm really interested in that we'll talk about today. But for the most part, this set, I won't be buying any boxes of it, but I'll definitely be picking up singles from London local players.
But before we talk about EX7 in specific, generally there are a few things that I want to note. One, Bandai, thank you. Foil commons. Keep it coming. There are so many commons, and you guys have all seen on our deck profiles the decks that we really like. We get the alt arts for, we get the pre-release stamps.
Oh yeah.
But there are a lot of cards in those decks where the best rookie or the best level 4, and sometimes even the best level 5, are commons, which means no pre-release stamp, no foil. So unless there is a, tournament pack or a event pack or something like that, that card is going to be an unfoil nightmare in our decks.
It's a sore thumb.
And so EX7, I'm not entirely sure why. It seems quite random since the last time foil commons was around was BT11. And so they're like, yeah, EX7, foil commons. And it's good. It's really a good way to add value to boxes, which is something people complain about a lot, is that they buy the box when it's released. MSRP is, $90 or whatever the case. They pull an alt art, 2 alt arts and a regular art secret rare, and there's no way that second market is that much money. But the foil commons, some of those cards are pretty expensive, especially like the Three Musketeers cards or the Liberator cards. They're pretty expensive. So I wanted to hats off to Bandai for that.
Something else to look out for in sets that give us foil commons is Floodgates. As they're cards that typically just end up being in a lot of decks, despite if they're not in your type or not. So in this set, I know we get the blue Automamon, which is a foil. That's a card to scoop up copies of if you can.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. Yeah. Especially if they ever make this Nature Spirits deck something that's worth playing.
Not yet, but soon.
But EX7, Jacob, what are you looking forward to, man?
I'm looking forward to just seeing how the US meta resolves around a certain dynamic duo that comes out this format. I know that there was very popular DigiTuber East. Shout out to East.
Shout out to East. Big shout out
He's
to
the
East.
goat. I know when a lot of discussion about the Numemon ban came around, he was one to be like, hey, don't worry. There's a new event. There's something on the event horizon that's coming that will help make this deck not seem as bad to play against. And they still hit Numemon. Thank you. Very good choice.
Aces. Good call.
However, that deck is here now, and it's pretty good. And so it's something we'll talk about today that's very interesting to see. So besides like cards that I'm excited for, more specifically, are like targeting the Lady Devimon X. It is a very cool card I'm super excited for. The Lilithmonic Anybody and the Hexablow. Just cards to name a few that I just happen to be really excited for. Yeah. I'm mainly excited to see how the US players adapt to this new meta.
Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about Shoto Kazama from EX7. So what Shoto is supposed to be used for is for this Fogamon deck. All this, the top end of this is a Fogamon stuff, says Vortex, which is Blitz effectively, but you can do it the turn you're played at a Digimon in particular. This Shoto, you can spend it to give something piercing, but more importantly, you can give something blocker. So for any of you who've been playing on the Digimon Simulator online, you have played against a budget version of this deck in the past with Astral Snatcher and Chumon Damemon tucked under Mother D Reaper to give it blocker. The bad thing about that version of the deck is you have to have one of the Bagger Army idiots in the trash, and you have to pay 7 to play Astral Snatcher to put one of said Bagger Army idiots underneath your Mother D Reaper. In this version of the deck, you can play Shoto for 3, and then end of turn you can suspend him to give Mother D Reaper blocker.
Setting up a deck that as early as turn 2 is able to set up a 15k uninteractable blocker
for 3 cost.
For a measly cost of a Tamer that will stick around and do that every turn. And heaven forbid the Mother Control player finds their second Shoto or their third Shoto, and all of a sudden you're looking at 2 or 3 Mother Reapers that block. This combination is very powerful. It's something that is able to be set up with relative ease, especially now that we have a mulligan in this game, something we used to not have a long time ago. But so it'll be what we think is the meta definer or meta warper for this set is going to be how you deal with the Mother Shoto control or Mother Shoto combo.
If you're attempting to perform at the highest level of Digimon in the October Ultimate Cups and Regionals, of which there are 4 or 5 or something coming up in the next set, your deck has to do 2 things. It has to be a deck that can beat all of the decks in the meta. So it has to be able to beat your 3 Musks, your Lilith X's, all of the stuff that was good in 17.
Imperial Dramons.
Yeah. And now it has to do a second thing. And this is a bigger gatekeeper, is that it has to be able to either swing at 16,000 or be unblockable. So the interesting thing about that is the Shoto deck, the Shoto D Reaper deck, isn't even at full power. Because it doesn't have access to all of the black hybrid support in, I guess, what will be for us 2.0.
Yeah.
It gets another copy of Sephirothmon, which is the taunt archetype, which is force your opponent to attack start a main. So you can either send something into Mother D Reaper to block, or you can put a level 5 on top of that. And then force a blast interaction, of.
Something we're also currently missing is the very strong inclusion of the Shadow Seraphimon Ace,
Yeah,
which is another all-star the deck will get to use in the future. The deck itself is very interesting. It's very much build a mother wall and then do whatever you want. So
Yeah, beat
these
them
decks
down.
get to abuse cards like Valkyrimon Ace and Mega Gargomon Ace, as well as really strong 5s that force your opponent to interact force your opponent to interact and then get snuffed by the Mother and Ace plays. And they're decks that kind of abuse the side effects of Ace cards being the overflow, because they're decks that don't have to devote any time to or resources to keeping their wall up. Once they have the Shotos and Mothers in play,
That's their
that's
wall,
it. They're
yeah.
stuck there until you deal with them. So if they're swinging their Valkyremon in for 2 checks and it dies on the second check to a Mega and they overflow 4, they're fine, because their Shotos at the end of turn going to give their Mother blocker, and they're going to go, well, I'll set something else up next turn. And you're still going to have to stare down this egg that is uninteractable with and go, how does
True.
my Imperial Dramon get around this?
Yeah. And then, so interestingly enough, apropos of Mother D Reaper Shoto, one thing that I've been thinking about that could necessarily come back into the meta is Tamer hate decks. And one card in particular, Hades Force, is something that's kind of on the top of my brain, because yes, the deck plays the Shoto, but it also plays a lot of black Tamers, the old tie that lets you restand a blocker, the tie that gives plus 2,000 memory setter, draw a card when an attack's redirected, etc. And at the end of the day, yeah, promote up a Metal Gray, make it a Gaiomon or a Black War Gray, Hades Force all the Tamers away, and then they have 2 Mothers standing there doing nothing. Or you could even raid into them at giant DP numbers. It's pretty interesting. But I know a lot of people are looking towards, obviously, unblockable Koji, unblockable Mirage Galgamon with the BT 13 Mock Gal.
I've seen copies of High Speed Plugin making it into
High-speed
people's
plugin.
50 is
True.
just extra ways to get around the Mother D Reaper.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking Alliance, obviously, with the AG, I think is a good way to get up to big enough to where you're bigger than the old mom. And interestingly, the other thing that I wanted to talk about with Shoto Mother is that I have seen people just playing D Reaper with 4 copies of Evil Jerry and then 4 copies of Shoto.
Might as well.
Because it's like, yeah, you're doing D Reaper stuff. You might as well also, because people would play creep hands as their blocker and
Yeah.
just block to save like a Jerry or to save a Gatekeeper or whatever the case, or to save Mother from getting killed by a raid target. And then they're like, well, what if Mother was the defense? It's pretty funny.
I saw a JP list that was playing. It was a mother Shoto control list that was playing just 5 copies of ADR1 Searcher.
ADR2 Searcher.
ADR2
ADR1
Searcher.
is Jerry. Thank you.
As just a 1-cost draw card.
Can't be bad.
and they were also playing copies of Alice as
Delete the Searcher to
drop your
Evo.
Searcher for 1, draw a card, go into your level 6 for free, drop another Searcher for 1. Just cool stuff like that you get to do with this deck.
Yeah, so this is for those of you who are fans of my take on the ban list. You will be happy to know that I do think that this should be a pair ban, Shoto and Mother. I think it's obviously not the intended gameplay loop with this card. But the thing that I do like about things like Shoto Mother and things like Galaxy Loop is it does show off the creativity of card game players. And I think in a world where the tier 1 and tier 1.5 decks are so strong and so intuitive, decks that reward creativity and strong deck building, I think are always good to have around in a card game.
Oh yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see a Imperial Dramon player work super hard to build up this Pale Dramon stack and tapping on your whole board just for Mother to go. Nope.
15K. Yeah.
The other thing I think would be interesting too is because I've seen Shoto being played in Demon Lords as well as a way to give Demon Lords that aren't creepy mon blocker.
Yeah, that seems good.
So it might be something as like maybe with a lot of these Tamers, they might need to just be typo restricted to being in their class of cards. So maybe Shoto only
Give a
gives
Liberators.
Liberators, blocker and piercing, or maybe we're wrong and maybe Bandai thinks that this is a fantastic way to bring ingenuity.
Which
to the game.
and like I've been wrong before. Tell you that much. I was I really thought Magna X needed to go, but it's pretty clear that just a set and a half later, it's clearly not a tier 1 or tier 0 strategy, which is interesting because looking at it, you're like, yeah, this is crazy.
Oh yeah, especially if we can play like Parasite Mon and tap on our magnets, tap stuff down.
Deck list coming soon.
I feel ya. I preached for Cool Boy to be restricted to 1. I said this card was so incredibly strong.
Gotta get out of here.
Breaks archetypes that aren't X antibody, needs to go. And I think the card is still pretty strong for a 2-class Tamer.
Playing it.
It's a card that doesn't see much play anymore.
The only X antibody archetype in the game right now is Dex Dorugoromon, and they aren't even playing it.
You don't fit it into your list? Heck no.
There's no reason.
Too many AGs we got to play. Too many cracker.
Well, the black base, they're like, oh, we get Cool Boy, and then they still aren't playing it. They're playing. They're playing Kosuke and Yuji and all those goobers. Marvin, shout out to Marvin, dude. But yeah, EX7. There's you're watching this. It's Friday. I think it's still September at this point, or maybe early October. On Friday when you're watching this, 8 a.m. Thanks so much to the viewers. But we've got a bunch of tournaments coming up. Couple Ultimate Cups, a couple of regionals.
September 28th, we have a regional next weekend.
Yeah, we have a store regional in the great state of Oregon.
October 13th.
We'll see if you're PNW. Hit us up. We'll be there for sure. And then from there, time marches on, Jacob.
As we continue to progress towards immersion with JP and what is still prospected out to be the February March of
25.
Really interesting to see how that shapes out the game.
Yeah, we'll see.
Something I'm excited for. But yeah, we continue to get these reveals and we continue to get these just like ban lists and just the way the game changes. I want to know, what are your feelings about the game right now?
Wow, what are my feelings about the game? It's interesting because this is a weird spot for me because in BT17 I really was all in on decks, and BT17 is come and gone, and I'm still all in on that deck. It is what I'm going to be playing in the regionals and Ultimate Cups coming up. I think there's nothing in EX7 that power creeps it out. And so I'm still moving on with it. And the fans know when you fall in love with a deck, you fall hard. Oh, yeah. And it's just all I want to play these days. I still love to play Bond, and I love the ancient Bond list. Check it out on the channel if you haven't seen it already. And I still love to play that, but Dex is a deck that I've been playing and loving, and I don't see myself playing anything else at least at a high level until 2.0 comes out and we get Cross Art and Millennium on. But I'm feeling good. I'm really still enjoying decks, still, believe it or not, still learning the deck. Even with the amount of time I've put into it and the amount of games I have on it, you still find more ways to play. Especially, I've been a little bit reignited on the deck even after a couple of strong regional results with the black base Dorugoromon.
Shout out to Ben.
Shout outs to Ben. And someone literally took his list, card for card, took it to Dallas and went 9-0, which is amazing. I still think purple is better. It just, I mean, you can't convince me otherwise. It plays 12 searchers. That's more consistent than black base because it only plays 4.
Well, do we count the Mega Dramon as a searcher?
No, because it costs 7. Duh.
That's fair.
So yeah, even if we do count that, now they play 7 searchers, which is for those of you keeping score at home, 5 less than 12. But I still think it's awesome because the black base is sick. I love Dorumon. I think I love Alphamon. I love Dorumon. Dorumon goes in Machine Dramon. There's a lot to love about it. I love Marvin. I played Marvin in Machine for a long time. Amazing. How are you feeling?
I think the card game is in a really good spot right now. I definitely was, I was really wanting this new ban list. Part of me was really worried before going into like the days before ban list, because my biggest fear was that they were going to hit some things and not hit other things, and just throw us into a tier 0 format, which would have been very unfortunate. And I know some people will argue that that may have happened. I know we've seen a lot of Imperial Dramon make top 16s, a lot of Dexterugumon make top 16s in various formats. But something that's interesting to me is that after the first couple weeks of the ban list, that started to taper away, and we were starting to see a plethora of decks make it into top 16.
Yep.
Just being able to combat the meta and attack it in different ways, which is really cool. I like to see that the post ban list, the game seems to be moving in a very healthy way. I still think there are some cards that inherently need to be addressed, if not now, then in the future. For instance, like we have said, I think while the Mother Shoto combo is really cool, I think it is too easy to assemble this monster that is incredibly hard to deal with.
One card Exodia.
Yeah. It's like, and there are still cards that, probably need to be, I think.
Davis can BT60 Uko.
I think Daikin can go. I think Uko could go. I think there are a number of decks that, maybe need a card or two hit just to slow things down. But over the recent sets, it seems like we have been dialing it back a bit on our power level to kind of help slow down power creep a bit. So a lot of there are some like EX7, I think is a good example. There isn't anything out of this set that screams at me of like, oh, this card needs to be banned, except for the Mother Shoto combo.
Yeah.
And that just happens to be that Shoto works incredibly well with cards that aren't in the Liberator deck. I think all in all, I'm really happy where the game is. I have been kind of cowboy without a horse. I have not found a deck this format that I really like at all. This BT17, I had put down the Mastamon cards for a little bit because I just it deck that sometimes just playing against decks like Numamon and
don't break your heart, man.
Ancient Bond. There were decks that just like it just seemed like I had no agency in the game and there was nothing I could do to change it. A post ban list, Mastamon is something I've been picking up again, and it's been incredibly fun to get behind the cards again. This new set has a lot of cards that, albeit not extremely powerful, the cards that I am excited to play with and excited to see how they fit into existing archetypes. But all in all, I just been really liking Digimon right now. I'm excited to see the new sets I'm excited for the new sets that are up and coming, 2.0 and 2.5. I'm excited to see what this Nats format is going to be like. I know that is something that we always we're getting close to about the time that Basil and Justin and I and a bunch of the other players from our locals will start sitting down and testing pretty regularly during the week to try and figure out how we're going to attack this Nax format.
We've got to find the Anubis.
But
I hope it's Crossheart. Oh, please be Crossheart.
But what's interesting is we don't know what we're going to have access to for the Nats format because the 2.0 and 2.5 card list is still pretty up in the air. Obviously, JP is getting BT 18, 19.
They're having it all separate.
I think it's BT 20 or maybe it's EX8. All as one, individual sets. We are going to be getting them in two combined sets, like Special Release 1.0, 1.5. However, we do not know what cards we are getting in 2.0, which is going to be the format that we will be in for Nats. 2.0 will be coming out a couple weeks before Nats. So maybe not a couple
No,
weeks,
no,
but maybe
no.
it's a month or so.
2.0 is in November. End of
2.0
November.
is in November.
I'm pretty sure. I think we get 2.5 in January after Nats. Let us know in the comments when these sets are coming out, because we don't know.
All I know is that we don't get 2.5 until after Nats.
I think that's
So
right.
We will have some time to play test with we will have a couple months to play test with the cards. But we are players who like to play test with these cards a good few months in advance just to get an idea of, you don't get 500 games on Anubis in the 2 weeks leading up to the event.
we
It
were
takes a lot
on-
of time.
Shout outs to Project Drazzle, dude. We were on that.
So I know that we're excited to finally see what it is we're going to have to play with going into this Nats format, and to, try and get some good results this year, or at least shoot for it. And as well as we have a high number of regionals coming up.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of a segue into a Q&A that we have, because it's something that I really wanted to talk about. Oscar, again, local legend, the 8th Demon Lord, very handsome. Oscar has to say, I was wondering, what is keeping you guys in the game? I've seen a lot of regulars stop playing Digi for other card games, Magic, One Piece, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood, or just leaving the game entirely. As someone who's been playing the game since BT8, I have also had struggles with trying to stay interested. Also, any tips on how to bring back the spark I had for the game? Now, this is something that I wanted to talk about, not only because Oscar asked it, and we're very big fans of Oscar,
Huge fans of
but
Oscar.
because it is something that hit the team a little bit. For those of you who don't know, you haven't seen Justin around recently. Justin has sold his collection and is done with the Digimon trading card game. 07 in the comments for Justin. And the reason is his goal was to top nationals, and he topped nationals. And that was it. He's like, I did what I wanted to do. Still good friends with the people at locals. He shows up once a month, once every other month, just to say hi and play Skull Mammothmon and bounce around and go 3-1 on a deck that's not very good, because he's that good of a player. But he didn't have anything keeping himself in the game. I am still in the game because that competitive drive is still within me. And sort of reignited by Deck Store Goromon. It's a deck that I saw as kind of a challenge to play. It was pretty clear that it was a purple deck, a black deck, but most importantly, a skill expressive deck. And it's just something that I really wanted to play and play at a very high level. So it's stuff like that keeps you in the game. Mostly just decks that are really strong. Jacob pulling out some props here. So Jacob, what do you got going on here, brother?
So I started playing the game in about the month or two before it released in the US. In November of 2020, there was a very, very small amount of shops that got allotted an abysmally small amount of product. And it was kind of a tester of, is this a game that the US would find interested in playing? And at my, this is still, COVID era, getting close to post-COVID era. And at the card shop that I played at, there was me and my 2 roommates at the time who were very close. And there was the 3 card shop owners who are Digimon stans. They have been, they have played all the Digimon card games. They've watched all the shows. They've read the random mangas that came out on the McDonald's Happy Meal, cardboard boxes. And they approached us. They said, yeah, there's this new Digimon game coming out. Not a lot of players seem to be interested. And my roommates convinced me to pick up the starter decks. They said, listen, we bought the red and blue starter deck. You should pick up the yellow starter deck. We don't think it's that good, but it's the only one that's left. And you could pick them up for cheap and get into this card game. and I was a big Modern player for Magic at the time. I was playing a lot of video games at the time, and I just, couldn't be bothered. But after some twisting my arm behind my back, I finally convinced myself, you know what? I'll pick up these 2 yellow starter decks. And the card chip owner gave us these. Her name is Kate. She makes a lot of custom tokens and stuff like that. And so she made these little memory counters for all of us. Each, me and my 2 roommates, Evan and Mason, they each had the red and blue one to go along with theirs. So the Gabumon and the Agumon. And then the 3 card chip owners had the store logo as theirs. I've had this ever since. And this is kind of a lot of times when I think too, oh, do I think this game has run its course? Oh, do I think I've gotten all the enjoyment I can out of this game and I can, hang up the ropes? Me being a player who I have seen success at multiple variances of tournaments, and I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of this. But whenever I think about if I would like to leave the game or not, I think about this. And at the time, me and my roommate helped build a community down in the Eugene area where in 2021, I think we were getting averages of 25, 30 players coming in twice a week for locals. And we helped cater this huge crowd, which has since dispersed as people go on to play new card games. I moved up to the Portland area and have had to find my new home away from home and my new friends to play with and get along with. And I have been able to do that. And I was never the biggest Digimon fan, but since getting into the card game, I've had a huge love for the IP. I've made some incredible friends along the way, playing this card game. I don't think I could go through and list every good friend I've made playing this card game, but Basil, Justin, Carson, Evan, Jesse,
all
Jacob,
of Wayward City Games.
all of Wayward City Games. I've just became close with a lot of people who play this game, and it's just a game that seems to, no matter when I think that, every time I think, oh, maybe the game has ran its course, a new deck will come out, or a new card to support an old archetype that gets me going, maybe I can play Parasitemon and Magnax, and maybe it's not going to be bad. I just have a lot of love for the Digimon card game, and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. I have played a lot of other card games. I still play a lot of other card games. Flesh and Blood is a game that engages that competitive spirit that I so much like. I love the competitive scene of Fab, and I will continue to play Fab. But I'll still come out to locals. I'll still come out to locals for Digimon to. I'll still keep up with every set. I'll still buy singles that'll sit in my binder until they inevitably end up getting traded away because I never actually build the deck.
That happens.
I'm just gonna keep playing the game because I like it, and if I get an extra top here or there, or if I don't have enough time to actually winning an event, that'd be pretty cool. That's obviously the goal. I'd like to get a first place under my belt, but I like Digimon.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, it's like the community. That's what it boils down to is community and competition, and that's really what keeps us going.
Exactly.
You need to get that first place. I need to get that top at Nats, and we need to do it together. So thanks so much, Oscar, for the question. We got another question from another local legend, Mago on Discord. How do you guys feel about how Bandai designs their sets? Do you think it's a good idea to try and release the same amount of cards for every color set after set, even though it means decks will get split across multiple releases? We oftentimes get half a deck in one set and the other half multiple sets later. Do you think it's justified that they do that they release pack filler even to this day. I mean, we're still getting vanilla rookies in BT18. Is that true? Did we have any in 17? I can't think of any.
I believe it.
It also feels like some Digimon switched their original colors simply because they ran out of slots in one color, like making Leopardmon green because they could not have a green Royal Knight for BT13, or the Demon Lords in EX6 having the dual colors for similar reasons. Set releases in Digimon. Generally, I do think that half of the deck in one set, half of the deck in another set is not the best, but also I'm not entirely sure how it is avoidable, other than, like you said, blue doesn't get any cards to set, and just like give us all of the green deck in one set, which would feel pretty bad, I think. It's funny that you mentioned this in particular, Mago, because I know you are specifically only playing blue decks unless it's Terriermon. So I think you would be like, oh, no blue this set, skip it. But I do think it is a problem, particularly for like you. Well, I don't know if you had mentioned, but we were talking about the Millennium Mon deck, and it's going to feel really bad if it's split between 2.0 and 2.5 because of how far apart they are. Because I know there's a Zed Millenniumon and a Moon Millenniumon and a Millenniummon, and if those are split 2 or 3 months apart, then the Millenniummon fans are going to be in outrage.
That's going to feel half made.
Yeah, but I do think that the sort of this card has to be this color is something that I think is good that they're getting away from. I think, like, for example, in the most recent set, there is a black Tortomon and Jagamon. I think that's okay, because it's not like if you see blank card, it has to be blank color, because it's not like in the show Leopardmon had jamming, so he has to be blue. You know, I think it's okay that Leopardmon can be green and have a green strategy tied around him.
Blue Leopardmon was pretty cool though. I remember that deck back in 1.0, 1.5.
I wasn't around. I'm sure that Leopardmon was extremely strong back in the day.
I know about strong. It was cool. It was cool.
But yeah, I think the big thing is like, yeah, they have to have color cards every set, and sometimes, especially in a monocolor archetype, they can't really fit it all in.
I think an interesting something I've always thought about is I think with EX sets, what they could do is maybe instead of releasing, because EX sets fall under the same category of releasing SRs and megas and all of the colors. I think that's something we could do with EX sets. Is maybe cater them to be, oh, this is the War Greymon EX set, and we have yellow War Greymon and red War Greymon and black War Greymon cards. And the next set we get, oh, this is the Fairy EX set, so we're gonna get a lot of Bloom Lord stuff and a lot of Lilymon stuff, and or this is the Machine set. I think there's a lot of definitely like typal card like sets that we could release as like maybe like take away from like so many of the Bandai stuffs and give us a set that's just like targeted towards boosting a lot of older decks, or like making a lot of older decks much more like caught them up to speed. I know there are a couple of games that do kind of what Mago was talking about, where they only release cards for a certain number of archetypes. I think Cardfight Vanguard only releases cards for like 3 or 4 of the like 12 tribes that are in the game or something like. I know with Fab we only get there's typically 2 to 3 classes that get cards, and then our expansion slots for the set are given cards to help boost older decks.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. I think the biggest thing is like, you know, Bandai is going to do stuff. Obviously, I know Bandai has some kind of care for how the game plays out and like the health and the meta and stuff, but I think also Bandai wants to sell boxes and sell sets. And it's hard to get your player base to come in and pick up boxes if they don't have cards in the boxes that they're interested in. And if we color lock sets, that might be a fear and is a reason why we might not get this. But I definitely understand the counteractment too of if I'm a an Old Force one trick and I open up a set, I don't need these green and these black cards and these red
Or
cards.
the blue Tamers that hit.
Yeah.
What do they do?
So it's interesting. I guess I don't really have a solid answer to how I think I could combat this besides maybe experiment more with EX sets and try to build EX sets catering
Rather than
towards...
throwing weird gimmick archetypes in an entire box, throw in some support for decks that are relevant.
And give us an alt art for D Reaper. That's all I'm asking.
For what?
For D Reaper.
The egg?
Just not the egg. I guess I'd be down with the Mother D Reaper alt art. Just give us any card. We were talking about this. Every single gimmick archetype in the game has at least one alt art. Galacticmon has an alt art. Eosmon has a plethora of alt arts. The decks like Omni Ace and Telecon, they all have alt arts. D Reaper does not have a single alt art besides if you really want to go there and say that the X antibody counts as an alt art.
Well, Jacob, I'm going to stop you right there because we've got Fake Jerry Winter Stamp coming up in the next tournament pack.
That's true.
Buddy. And I'm looking for 4. I'll get them at locals, don't you worry.
But like Gatekeeper alt art would be kind of cool. But I also think if they release like RDO1 Searcher or RDO2
ADR, Agent of D Reaper.
Oh, ADR2 Searcher. If they release that as an alt art, people are gonna be like, I don't play this deck. This deck came out.
I'm looking for 20, dude.
3 years ago.
20, dude. That'd be awesome. It'd be like Eosmon.
Or Mother. I think Mother would be a really good alt art target.
I think they should do Reaper with a proper errata text.
Reaper would be
the
really
actual
cool.
bang, bang, bang. You just hit them
Or
with
Bubbles.
Bubbles would be good. Yeah. Any of the cards would be good to have because none of them are foiled because they were all EX2.
That's what I'm saying. Mother D Reaper is the only foil.
And
give us some foil. And Reaper. Reaper's a foil.
The real D Reaper heads of those you are watching have non-foil Reapers because they have the errata pack Reaper, which says it doesn't say reduce the play cost by 15. It says set the play cost to 0. So it is not affected by cost floodgates when you make Reaper.
That's pretty good.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, just that's my biggest thing, Bandai. Give me any alt art for the D Reaper deck, just any of them. I'll bring the deck to a regional if I get a Mother D Reaper alt art or an ADR2.
You heard it here first.
Alt art.
Well, Jacob, it's about that time. You got a card of the week picked out?
I do. But I want to hear about your card of the week first.
Well, let's hear about my card of the week. Now, we've been talking about EX sets a lot because they're a little topical. We got EX7. And since EX3, there has always been at least one gimmick Jogress deck.
Yes.
EX3 had Examon and Virus Imperial. EX4 had Omnimon, the black boop, 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 Alter S thing.
Yeah. Alter B.
Alter S, Alter B. EX5 had Grace Nova. And EX6 really did it right. They had Mastemon and Ragnalordmon, which was the least gimmick of the gimmick EX decks.
I'm going to say, no gimmick.
Because
no gimmick
you didn't need to make 2 stacks.
Yeah.
You made 1 stack, and then that stack made your Jogress. And it gave me this hope that EX gimmick Jogress decks were not that anymore. They were just the EX Jogress deck.
Yeah.
And comes along EX7. And here we are with the Nature Spirits cards. And it's a rainbow deck, which is good.
Yeah,
I love rainbow decks. I love Crossheart. I love Royal Knights, I think, is really cool. I love the decks that dip into a lot of different colors.
I love getting to play Heaven's Judgment.
I love getting to play Heaven's Judgment and minus 36,000. It just tingles me
clear
in my,
everything
deep
on
in
the
my
board
bones. and they released this Nature Spirits deck, and it has a Jawgrass level 7. And all of these other decks that I've told you have a way to gimmick their way into their 2 stacks. Examon, you hard play the level 5, end of turn Jawgrass, counts as level 6s. Virus Imperial, they spit out the guys, they make the level 5 makes level 5, they Jawgrass.
Yep.
I mean, Grace Nova, the Scio and Co. spit out the level 6, Jawgrass, boom, Grace Nova. They all have a way to make this level 7. And this Nature Spirit, you know how it makes its level 7? You build a level 6, and then you hard play a level 5, and you hope they swing an ace. You ace Saber Leo, and then next turn you get the Jawgrass. And not only that, you don't have Partition. You don't have Inheritables on your level 6s that you use to make your level 7.
How big is our level 7?
Our level 7 has 3,000 DP, probably. I don't know.
Weak sauce.
So my card of the week is Tealakmon, or I don't know how you say it. It's the Nature Spirit level 7. It's a 3-color card, and it's got to be the worst card I've ever seen in my life. And if you are a Nature Spirits fan watching right now, for some reason, you love this. It was in episode 39 of Tamers, or I don't know. I didn't watch the show. Or it's in the manga and you love it. Please tell me what I'm missing about this deck that makes it good. Because for the life of me, I cannot figure out what this deck is supposed to do to consistently make a level 7 Jawgrass happen.
Because I saw the Saber Leo ace, and I was like, oh, cool, more Leomon support.
Yeah, right.
Didn't even consider for me that it was a typo card for the NSP stuff. And yeah, I think it's pronounced Tealakmon.
I don't know if it's an I or an L. I think it's an I.
Regardless, it's a very silly Digimon.
I don't know how you make it. I purchased an alt art on TCG Player for a single penny plus shipping. But then I got free shipping because I bought some more stuff. So, Jacob, what do you got?
I have a card that is a little bit better than Tealakmon level 7.
I hope so.
And that's the EX7 Lady Devimon X Antibody. I've been experimenting with a lot of purple dual box decks for this format, and this card just kind of does a lot for a level 5 X Antibody. We've been progressing with the game to where these level 5 X Antibody cards have started to do a little bit more and more, but this card just does a lot. It like gives something end of attack delete itself for a turn. If you're X Antibody or Lady Devi, you spit out a token. It has an inherited effect of whenever you whenever you delete something, you get to play level 4 or lower from your trash. It's a lot for a 3 to Evo 0 on a Lady Devi purple 8K.
Yeah.
And it also does it all on play too, which is pretty crazy.
Right.
Yeah, I've been experimenting a lot with Lilith X and a lot of those cards, and this is a card that just like puts a lot of work in a deck that already had like a pretty strong fundamental core, the Ogremons,
for those of you
Goblimon.
For those of you who don't know, you should know by now because you've watched every episode of Two Tamers Talk. I think that Ogremon, Goblimon, Suno, Dober X, Ignitemon is the single strongest engine in the game. And then you just throw Lady Devi's on top of it and Lilithmons on top of that. And it's turning out to be quite the deck.
Pretty good.
Well, a beautiful choice, Jacob. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching. We love all of you fans, and we love that you like listeners talk about Digimon for an hour every week.
Heck yeah.
So if you've made it this far, give us a like, give us a comment, and give us a subscribe, and we'll catch you all in the next one.